Zyra and the Ezreal for the bottom lane of Fnatic Academy. Giants have made a few shifts in terms of getting themselves either the early jungler in the form of Lee. Will Memento move to a different jungler? Will they look to ban away the Zyra perhaps?
Oh, well, we'll have to find out. For now, picks and bans remain relatively the same. Zyra could be a potential ban option, although I don't think it's been the biggest factor. Syndra would keep things consistent at this rate, but it would leave that Camille open one more time for Kikis. Now, Graves will be taken away from Memento again.
Same bans for Fnatic Academy. There's no need to change anything up, right? They've been working pretty reliably, but this is very likely going to be the Zyra first pick, I feel, for Fnatic Academy.
And a classic strategy. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Best of fives. If you won with something, why not just keep winning with it until the enemy team proves they can beat it? We'll see if that's what Fnatic Academy opt for. As they look for their first pick. Will we see the Zyra again? Yep. Coobs nodding, focused. Seems like an easy strategy for the side of Fnatic. They got 3 games to win 1. Giants need to win 3 straight games to make something happen.
So for Giants, how can they shift things up? Early on in the split, Flaxis, she brought out a couple of split pushes. When you are forced into a corner and the pressure is on, maybe do you throw back? Do you take those gambles?
Ooh, I like this though. They say, hey, Mr. Rawls, we noticed you're really good at one champion. That one champion is Ezreal. How about we take that champion away from you? Let's see what you can do. We've seen your Varus. We're not scared of it, but we will see what Rawls opts for here. Memento gets the Elise this time as well. It's not the playmaker that Lee Sin is, but it is the early powerhouse, most assuredly.
But we are seeing a shift from Giants, which I think is the key thing, because so far, first 2 games, very similar playstyle for Memento on the Lee Sin. He played the Ashe in both of his games, and now we're going to be seeing a change-up. Fnatic Academy now being the ones to actually take some of the picks away from the side of Giants. And I feel like that if you are Giants, maybe you lock in a mid laner here for Knight. Give him a comfort pick, and then you look to ban away, target ban, take stuff away from Niski so you can guarantee some success, at least for one of your stronger performing players.
Yeah, we've seen this bot lane be very effective, offers more engage options, more disengage options, and that arrow was kind of the crux on which Giants found success so many times. Both teams taking picks away from each other. See what Mr. Rawls can do on the Ashe, see if Hiku can dish out as much damage as Rawls has in these past few games, because without as much reliable engage options, Giants may struggle to find those team fights.
I like the Nautilus pickup from Giants. We talked a lot about it earlier on in the first 2 games, where you have the flexibility, right? A lot of teams during the regular season of Challenger, along with the playoffs of Challenger, which is blind picking the Nautilus and giving Fnatic Academy the freedom to pick whatever they want, like the Akali and the Fizz. But what we saw from Misfits was that they actually swap this Nautilus around so you can move him top or bot for a safer matchup. And
I like this from Fnatic. They banned the Shen away. With what looks like a top laner locked in, they ban a Shen away because this is the Hustlin' Beast special, and they have 0 faith the Giants are going to put that onto the top side of the map. Opt to take away a pick of their own. As you said, Gragas. Now Orianna banned away from Niski. Not looking to give him a control mage or comfort pick there in the mid lane. And as we head into the last phase here, we'll see Flaxis flashing a lot of those top lane picks.
Remember, Camille is still available. We did see it from Kikis in game 1. And with the Renekton taken off the board, you're kind of strong-arming Giants now. They're telling Fnatic Academy, is saying to Giants, what else have you got in the tank? If you blind pick something that's good into the Camille, then we have the freedom to change up our options. However, if you blind pick your mid laner, then you're going to give Niski a favorable matchup. Alternatively, you then allow them to pick up the Camille, and then you're in a situation where you don't know what you can answer with it because of the limited pool that you have left.
But this time, Giants say, hey, it's our turn for the Camille. You don't want to prioritize it, we will take it away from you. And we'll have to see what it can do in the hands of Flaxis. He made it look good when he played Renekton into it. But if Kikis takes the opposite matchup, if Kikis plays the Renekton on the opposite side, will Flaxis suffer the same fate? Will he fall behind? But Fnatic, for the most part, looking at a rinse and repeat here. A lot of solid engage options. They like having this Zyra, having this Cassio.
I feel like Fnatic, they may very well go for the Fizz here as an answer to, oh, we're going for the skill matchup. All right. This could be fun between the 2 top laners. Flaxis, she had a good game too. Remember, the last time these 2 met up, Kikis really had Flaxish's number, and now Flaxish gets to prove himself. How well will he be able to do up against Fiora?
Ooh. Last pick here for Giants. What's it gonna be? There's no way.
Don't trust the hover. You should never trust the hover.
It's game 5. What do I trust, Vedius? Do I trust in Taliyah for Knight? This is a pick we have not seen in EU in what feels like ages. Now, it has seen some popularity in other regions, as a lot of mid lane champions got nerfed, but what can the Weaver's Wall accomplish?
So Taliyah's really good at roaming early. Once she gets to level 6 mark, rather. She's great at wave clear, and what this composition is great for Giants is kiting. Playing slow, methodical style where you don't hard commit to a fight, you always kite back. You always try and hit the person in front of you as they desperately try to chase onto your target. And there's so many tools in Giants' kit in order to just say, you know, we're going to keep you at arm's length and make things extremely difficult for you to get any hard engage onto us. But if you are Fnatic, I mean, you have the Asher, you have the Zyra follow-up, you've got the Fiora split push Fnatic. They're going once again for this 1-3-1 style, which worked pretty well for them in game 2.
Definitely did. Was a solid look for the team overall, but here in very well what could be the final game. The lineups have been locked in. Ladies and gentlemen, it is your last chance to vote. If you believe in Fnatic Academy, show them your support. If you believe in Giants, you need the Spirit Bomb. You need to lend them your energy. You need to believe in the reverse sweep, and you have to hold on to hope here as a Giants fan. Is this the game that Knight goes off? Is this the game that HeQ shows us what that rookie potential looks like? Or is it all just going to fall apart?
Will we see 2 brand new teams in the European LCS?
Can't
one way to find out.
Reminder, ladies and gentlemen, as the comps reveal the players' faces on your screens, Vedius is right. What could be the final game? It's an LCS spot, lying, waiting for Fnatic Academy if they can find a win here. And for Giants, ticket to the Challenger Series. Knocked out, fighting just for a chance to play in the big leagues for the next season. But it's game 3.
Welcome to Summoner's
Giants backs against the wall. Fnatic confident, looking to close out with a clean 3-0. For now, in the early game, it looks like neither side looking to take any crazy risks.
So pushing lanes is a thing that we often like to talk about here in the early game. It's often very important when trying to gain control. Gives you a lot of freedom for your jungler, especially when you have 2 such high, early impacting junglers in the form of Elise and Lee Sin. Now in the middle lane, early on, what you will have is, it should be fairly even, usually a little bit more wave clear in the favor of the Taliyah, but she has to be so careful of stepping up because of how strong Niski's Cassio is at level 2, that once Knight gets a couple of levels under his belt, that's when the pushing will start going in his favor. But for the first few levels, it's fairly even. In the bottom lane, we should see Rollas and Clyde have a heavy pushing advantage, simply because of the amount of wave clear and poke that they have, and Hustlin is playing a melee support. I mean, one up in the top lane, well, we already talked about in Champions Slate, you have a skill matchup. It's all about playing around those unique levels, trying to abuse cooldowns. Knowing what to riposte is extremely important, and ever since the nerf to Camille's E, where you only get the attack speed as long as you land the stun, it becomes a little easier to know exactly what to riposte. So, Clyde will take a little bit of damage, but
not as much as Hustlin. I got excited, but I forgot Zyra. It's never really a 1v1 when you engage on a Zyra, not only because there's an Ashe there, but also because she has a lot of friends. A lot of small plant friends.
Obnoxious and annoying plant friends.
Truly, truly, Vedius. For now, level 1s on each side. I think you said it best, Vedius. The junglers, they're the early game. They're who we have to keep our eye on. We don't expect crazy aggressive lanes outside of the top lane. Knight just pushing in for now. Niski ready to trade if he gets the opportunity, but I don't think he will get it. Flax just now trying to leap in for the level 2. That's a solid start. Kickus on the back foot already. It's a good look for him now. Kickus trying to fight, trying to get a level 2 for himself. Ooh, we'll
that's
get it there.
Interesting. So Flaxish actually started with his W to give him better clear during the early levels so that he could get that rush of the level 2. It meant that Kickus couldn't quite max that sort of react to that sort of pressure, which means he ends up getting forced back, loses a little bit on the trade, but good riposte there from Kickus.
I like it. Worried more about blocking the damage than blocking the CC at this stage. Doesn't opt to hold on to the riposte for the hook shot, just wants to win out on that trade. Both junglers clearing, mirrored pathing here. Blue buff into their respective top and or bottom side in the case of Amazing.
Literally identical jungle paths, just on opposite sides of the map. So now they'll move to Scuttle. But Memento, he's closer to that top half of the map. You'll be able to provide some vision to enable Flaxish to push up a little bit more in the laning phase.
And we have to remember, Elise is a dive terror. Easy reset on tower aggro. Flaxish, of course, can look to burn out, but looks like he is spotted on the ward. No, rather, Flaxish pings out the ward, shows Memento that it is warded up, and that Kikis smart enough not to give the opportunity for a dive here.
So likely to be, for the time being, a little slow in the early game. Often what you will see when you look at opportunities for Memento to gank, really you're either looking at bottom lane or top lane. Throughout this series, mid lane hasn't really had a huge amount of action going on, largely because a lot of the players are mainly playing farm champions. But this top lane matchup is so volatile. Usually what you have is come the mid game spike, Flaxish is usually a little bit stronger than the Fiora, but then once the two items get completed for Fiora, the Black Cleaver plus the Hydra, that's where things start going in the favor of Fiora, and she naturally scales just much better in terms of itemization and in terms of her ability to duel. Especially remember, all she really has to do is riposte that stun, and a lot of damage that Camille normally has ends up getting lost.
And of course the ultimate for Flaxish is such a powerful tool to lock someone in, but for Fiora, she just ults you.
Yep.
And then you're stuck in the circle too, unfortunately. You can try to walk out, but it just makes it easy to set up proccing those vitals, something that Kick is clearly not struggling with in this laning phase. Flax just buying a bit of time, healing up a little bit. Off the tactical sweep, Kick is stepping forward. Memento just waiting. Just doesn't want to take the risk. Wants to throw that cocoon so badly, but there's so many creeps moving back and forth.
Just needs to be patient. There's no need to rush. This is a big opportunity for Giants. There's so much respect from Kikis as well. He's so mindful of the possibility of a jungle gank. But perhaps after this next wave,
he's just waiting for so long, Vedius.
Yep.
And he's respecting the brush. Kikis is just playing to the bottom side of the lane.
Yep. Very smart play. But also think about what this will do for experience. Because now Flaxish has had to just share his farm for an extremely long time.
Parry's been used. Leaps in. Cocoon hits a minion. Leaps up, comes down. There's Niski. Memento still hungry for the kill. What is he doing? He goes over the wall. Memento. Desperation sets in on the side of Giants, and it's Fnatic who profit.
That is a tilt play right there. That is just you being on the edge, you feeling the pressure and saying, I have to get this kill. That is shocking. I would never expect Memento to flash over a wall like that.
It's grim. It is not the start they wanted. This is the snowball matchup we talked about.
Like, I could understand maybe if he goes for a flash burst here, but then to flash over that wall with no idea of where Amazing could be.
He already used the burst. The heal came out from the Cassio. And if he didn't see the heal, maybe that's the right choice. But if Lee Sin wasn't there, Fiora still would have got the kill.
And it's worth talking about these two junglers because a lot of eyes were on Memento. He had a good performance against Origin yesterday, and throughout the regular season, he has been the performer. And there have been question marks about Amazing's performance. Started early on during the season with his play on Fnatic, moving down to the Challenger team, having good synergy with Kick, but still his performance under debate. And so far throughout this series, he really has had the number on Memento. His lane-focused style has been working out very nicely. And already in this Game 3, Fnatic sitting at a 600 gold lead.
But we look at those numbers shown on the bottom of your screen, the jungle proximity between those two guys. This hasn't been about them ganking the lanes. This is about them fighting in a lot of other places for advantage. 11, maybe 12% total jungle proximity. It's usually we see 12% going to a single lane at sometimes, but now all lanes maybe not getting as much attention this time in this series. But Memento, of course, changing that in this game as he spent nearly a full minute on the top side. Flax just has to be careful. Out comes the Grand Challenge, wants to leap to safety. There's nothing left. Walk away. Out comes the Hex Tech. Kick his dashes past. Grand Challenge is issued and answered with a loss from Flaxish.
So now you have Fnatic Academy winning the 1v1 up in the top lane. You have a jungler that's now been put at a big deficit. And you can just see here, so Kikis, he doesn't use his riposte. He's not afraid of the damage. He's just waiting. He blocks all these vitals, and then he parries the stun, right? Makes it super easy for Kikis to be able to win out on that exchange. And now Fnatic Academy, they can just secure themselves the first tower.
Easy peasy. I mean, Fnatic, it was back and forth. It was slow at the start of games. Fnatic sometimes found early leads for sure, but it was never 2K gold right off the start of the game. Vedius, this is more dominant than we have seen them in this entire series. And when there is the most pressure on the side of Giants as well.
You can just feel how much this is weighing on Giants. In game 1 and 2, they looked more confident. We saw Giants going for that desperation fight right at the end of the game of game 2, where they actually won. Like, I thought that maybe they would use that to come into game 3 and try harder, look for more plays like that. Just go on the trigger when you really are pushed so far into a corner. But instead, the pressure just gets too much, and they concede a very significant advantage very early on into the game. Now, it doesn't mean that the game is over.
No, absolutely not. And one of the things that we heard Koob saying on stage to the guys, the side of Fnatic Academy, was, look, in League of Legends, there is nothing scarier than a team that is 2-0 down, that is one loss away from losing everything. You have to respect that when we go into this game. And Fnatic aren't just respecting it. We saw Kikis playing on the backside, backing away from any potential Elise ganks. They're now turning it around in their favor. They say, hey, we don't care if you're under pressure. We don't care if this means anything to you. We don't care if you're going to try anything crazy. We're just going to play better.
So far, they're doing just that. Now, amazing. He's posturing around the bottom half of the map. Good vision control coming out from Giants to allow HiQ and Hustlin to continue their push. Knight has now reached level 8, so he could look for a possible roam, more likely working towards what I hope will be a early Morellonomicon, and just hold on to the Megatron cloak.
Memento going in for a bit of burst here. Out comes Knight. Weaver's wall going over the wall.
Oh.
Dodge out. Ulti comes in. Knight, where are you going? Throws out a little bit of damage. Niski will get knocked up. Knight unable to get too much back, but Flax just comes over the wall. There goes the Hextech ultimatum, and he's looking for a little bit more. Arrow comes, they're trying to turn this back. Niski is still alive. Fnatic, they're turning, they're holding on. Stranglethorns goes in. Memento, he's desperate to get something back, but there's healing coming in for Niski. Mystic Shot connects. Knight now all alone. Kikis grabs a kill. This is disaster for Giants.
They continue to try and make things happen, but Kikis with the teleport turns the fight in the favor of Fnatic. He's going for the flash.
Just going to trade it back and forth in the end. 3K goal lead right off the bat, and you can see the start here for Giants looks so good, but it falls apart so quickly.
They realize that the Ashe is still in the bottom lane. They think they can get this collapse down onto Amazing. Knight doesn't flash over the wall because he doesn't want a hard commit. But then once they get this catch onto Niski and Flaxis joins the fray, Giants feel a lot more confident. They think they can go for this fight. But with the heal, the back, the kiting playstyle of just slowly focusing a single target down, not hard committing to a full-on 5v5, along with Kikis joining the sideline, enables Fnatic to just whittle Giants down and pick up another 2 kills.
And this is Giants falling apart when it matters most. As we said before, even blows, even back and forth early games, but here is absolute dominance from Fnatic. You can just see the difference in the lanes, the difference in the power for each of these guys at this point, the difference in the gold. And it's a good start in this early game. It's spread out among the team, too. It's 2-0 in the jungle, 2 assists in the mid lane, 1-0-2 for that snowballing top side. The Ashe ahead as well, and even in CS. Fnatic haven't given up anything for these advantages. In fact, they've gained a tower on top of everything else.
And I can only think of the communication within Giants right now. When you are at such a deficit, when you are 1 loss away from losing your LCS spot, like, how do you continue communicating like this? Like, you just have to focus on what you can do to win. And now Amazing has found Flaxish.
Kicks him back. Hook shot adjusting the direction, though, as he came out. Will keep him safe. But they're bowling him back, and the pressure continuing on top side.
Now, this is pretty good for Giants. Notice that here you can see a map movement very swiftly from Giants to try and get themselves this tier 1 tower down in the bottom lane, get some gold back on the map. Rallas and Clyde, they've been a little bit afraid of the roaming potential of Knight, preventing them from being able to continue their siege, but Fnatic, they're answering in the top side.
Kind of fake it out. Threaten that Talia will go down and say, hey, you want to stay? We will come. We will take this tower. We will take your lives as well. Flaxish playing on the edge of insanity here. Huge risks he tries to hold on to this tower, but it's just a little bit of damage down in the favor of Fnatic. About a third of the health traded for that bottom tier 1.
So now if you're Giants, you need to start moving up the map a little bit. Cloud Drake is on the board, but you can sacrifice that if you can put a little bit more pressure down onto this top tier 1. Send your bottom lane up to the top side of the map. Start hitting down onto that turret. Gain a little bit more map control to find these picks to get back into the game.
You competitive League of Legends enthusiasts, if you haven't watched the series so far, you forgot. This is an objective. It's called Rift Herald, and it's one that Fnatic love. But it looks like Giants have figured that out. They're now moving in, now looking for a little bit more. Knight going very deep, but it's amazing who's trapped in the Hextech ultimatum, and he will get burned down. Tack sweep, gonna clean it up, and they're gonna give this buff over to Flaxish. Looks like no contest coming in. Clyde maybe hoping to get a last hit on it in the end, but it's not gonna work out. And Flaxish may find something to shift this top lane in his favor.
But this is what we wanted to see from Giants. They're now pulling the trigger a little bit more. They're not afraid to force these fights, even in a deficit, taking advantage of the fact that they had 4 members in that exchange, and that a lot of damage was suffered from the Rift Herald itself. So you can see, coming in from 3 angles, you have Flaxish coming in from the top, Knight coming in from the bot, forcing Kinkis out of the fight, and effectively leaving Amazing completely by himself to get caught off guard. So this is Giants saying that we will not go down without a fight, even after a rough start.
Oh, Niski has to be careful, though. Taking a bit of the time. I don't know what the pathing he's taking in here. Maybe he was hoping for the outplay, but just goes in and goes down. Sees no opportunity to back up, of course, because I'm not even watching the mini-map. It's Flax just TPing in that denies any potential escape.
And now Giants, they're continuing to find small advantages. They get another kill. But Kikis is continuing his pressure up in the top side of the map. Flaxish, you likely won't be able to get here in time. Let's see if he goes for a fight.
Moves forward, hook shot, wall dive, not going to come out. Flax just accepting the tier 2 going down. Despite the Rift Herald buff, still doesn't feel confident moving forward. He's at a 2-level deficit, Vedius. That is brutal. However, 15 minutes in. A little less than that 3K gold lead. A little less than the 4K we saw earlier in the game. Giants doing their best to fight their way back into this game.
And the shining light for Giants is that they do still have a fairly strong bottom lane. You can see EQ, he's picked himself up a kill, working towards that Trinity 4-second item. Knight deciding to go for an early Abyssal Scepter. Personally not a fan, but regardless, it will definitely help him up against Niski. And he's mainly going to be that wave clear. He can now move off to a side lane. He has the ultimate to join the rest of his team in the event that they need him. And so now we just see the 1-3-1 being set up from both sides. And even though Fnatic do have an advantage, Giants have enough wave clear to at the very least buy time.
Vedius, as we see Giants pushing in, looking maybe for a bit of an engager. Hustlin has to be careful. Looks like the target may be Kikis, who's going to get collapsed on. Can they dive him, though?
Ooh, I think it would be dangerous, but less dangerous is the top lane, or the bottom lane rather, dive.
Unraveled Earth, of course, stopping Amazing from committing any further. But it does mean the tower will drop, and the gold lead will grow. But it's going to be traded back on the top side. Fnatic, though, maybe setting their sights on the bot tier 2. Things coming out from Giants. They know they need to defend it. Still taking a bit of time here, but the Sheen does make it a little bit easier to clean up that tower.
One thing you can do with Talia, if you ever want to try and stop the side lane siege, is you can actually use the Weaver's Wall to block off the minions, but you can't block off an arrow!
Kick back into the team. That's a decent amount of damage. Stranglethorns land, but not in the right spot. Knight is ghosted up and looking for a way out. Hustlin leaps back. Overcomes the hookshot, the wall dive. The parry goes in. Kikis grabs one, cancels the depth charge. Hextech ultimatum goes in. Memento is on the way, but Kikis 2v1, not enough. It's the 3v1 from Giants to hold on.
And when Weaver's Wall comes out mid to buy a little bit of time for Giants, a number of members were sent up into the river to win out on that exchange. But it ends up being a 1-for-1 trade overall. Fnatic should be able to get themselves the dragon. Giants still looking rough for them. You can see the strength of Kikis. He's already completed his Ravenous Hydra, working towards what is a Trinity 4-second item rather than the typical Black Cleaver. Will give him a strong mid-game power spike, but the fact that he's able to find these 2v1s, and if Memento hadn't shown up, he may very well have been able to get both kills. But he just plays this fight so beautifully, getting that riposte at just the right time to stun up Flaxish, and then continuing the trade. There was every possibility that he could have won that.
He would have. He just goes, because the issue there that we see, the Hextech ultimatum, includes the circle from the Grand Challenge. He could have just walked back, healed up, had all that for him, but it doesn't matter anymore. Giants suddenly trying to find an advantage here in the mid lane. Unraveled Earth comes out, trying to zone those members off. Slow, steady siege. We've seen this before, but Kikis is content to keep pushing on the top side to look for more. There's no tier 2 there, but he can continue to threaten. Maybe look to break an inhibitor tower if Giants want to keep duking it out in the mid lane.
Now, while a 2,000 gold deficit is actually very big early on into the game, now that we've approached the 20-minute mark and the gold deficit has stayed about the same, this is actually okay for Giants. They haven't lost that much more. The towers are still fairly even. And so Giants are not completely out of the game. This is why we were talking about earlier on. There's still plenty of avenues for them to find windows back. It's just Kikis is the main damage dealer that they have to be so afraid of. The fact that he is always going off onto a side lane and that he will eventually outscale Flaxish means that Giants have a window that they need to try and use, which is now. The Trinity Force is done for Flaxish. He should be able to hold his own for the time being, but they want to try and invest momentum into trying to shut him down and getting Flaxish off onto a side lane where he can truly dominate.
For now, though, definitely behind. Fiora almost an item ahead. Massive CS lead for the Fiora as well. And things look pretty rough for Giants. As you mentioned, they still have moves. They still have room to come back. They're definitely on the back foot here. Definitely need to find something to move forward into the mid game, but it has slowed pace, Vedius. You are correct. It's not the even games that we saw up until 30 minutes in our last two series. It is now very Fnatic favored in terms of the gold. But no greater advantages have been acquired by either side quite yet. No Barons, no insane Dragons, just a Cloud. But of course, only 19 minutes in, pretty hard to beat it.
But with the Baron spawning relatively soon, it does mean that this becomes an objective that both these teams can start to play around, especially Fnatic. With Kikis off onto a side lane, playing around Baron is a really big objective that you can use to draw pressure away from Kikis, enabling him to start knocking on the doors of your base towers. There's still a few tier 2s that are left to take up, but it depends on how well Fnatic can play around this objective. It's all about that vision control, all around looking for picks. They did a great job of it in game 1 and game 2. Let's see if they can maintain that performance.
And Giants, not quite as easy for them to find picks. They have the depth charge that is some guaranteed CC, but much easier to react to than the Flash Malzahar ultimates, than the Ashe arrows coming in. A little bit more difficult this time for Giants to play out their composition, but a lot of power now in the hands of HeQ as well with his Ezreal as opposed to the Ashe. God, they're just waiting. They're setting up Cly. I almost feel bad for him, Vedius. He has been the punching bag for Giants this series. He's done well. He's won 2 games, but he doesn't get to walk away with pretty kill scores for sure.
And a player that we haven't actually talked that much about. When you have a lot of standout performers on Fnatic, we do have to remember that Cly is the primary shot caller, and right now he's calling an engage. Moving
forward, looking for maybe a little bit more, but they are going to back off. Nothing lost there on the side of Giants. Just testing the waters from both sides. No major cooldowns burned either.
But coming back to Cly, remember that he was the former Fnatic support, then ended up joining the Fnatic Academy squad that didn't even qualify for the Challenger Series back in summer. They then built this new squad, which was able to reach the Challenger Series. Fight
goes in, gets knocked out, does get a depth charge up. It's Knight on the back side. Hustlin's still going to be alive, still looking for a little bit more. His Flash is leaping into the front lines. Rawless is low. They are in trouble. Tack sweep to heal up a bit for Flaxish. Just a bunch of cooldowns burned, however.
No one dies, though, and there are no objectives really to take unless Fnatic want to keep pushing on to the mid lane. Notice again, Kick is still in the bottom half of the map, wants to keep up pressure, force Giants to respond to every single lane that is always something is happening.
Threatening the tier 2. Kick is taking a bit of damage there. Flaxish taking a lot back. Grand challenge issued and denied. Flaxish will leap to safety, but Kikis, he's running forward. Flaxish backing off. Hexx ultimatum comes in. He cannot get the outplay, however. Knocked back out of the circle. Amazing healing up. Kikis, he's trapped in, but no, makes it over the wall. Now it's Amazing all alone, but the wall turns against Giants. As Amazing uses it to escape.
And now there are so many members of Giants in the bottom lane that Fnatic can just look to push up mid. There is a low tower here. There's a low tower in the bot. Fnatic, the world is their oyster right now.
Oh, and it's just a lonely EQ. Memento CC'd up, but there's no follow-up. However, it's still Fnatic who win the day. 4K gold lead once again as they find advantage.
Kick is doing so much work off on a side lane. Exactly what he needs to do. And the fact that Amazing is always there to help support him. Every time Giants try to get the collapse off, he's always there, ready and waiting. You can see Kikis, he's ready to disengage, but then Amazing comes out of nowhere. They feel confident enough to go for the dive. And then the moment that Cly shows up, that's the go signal. Another great riposte coming out from Kikis. The healing from this ultimate is enough for him to effectively tank the turret. And then what you think a wall could be enough to cut him off, nope, he just glides over it.
But it does cut off Giants as they look to advance. An unfortunate set of circumstances, to be sure. 6-3 now the kill score, 4K gold lead slowly shrinking, but Fnatic still maintaining for now. As Giants equalize a bit of that gold as they catch those waves as they push them back out. But EUCS, there's a lot of builds for Fiora. We see some guys build 1 or 2 damage items, then build tank. See, sometimes we see 3 or 4. EUCS is a 3 or 4 damage item kind of man, Vedius. BF Sword coming out as well. If that is a Bloodthirster, there is no hope for Flaxish ever to find a duel in his favor.
So our Giants gonna go for this. The do or die play. The Baron has been started. There's little vision for Fnatic Academy. This is actually going down super quick.
Steadily going lower. Fnatic on the way in. Can they steal this? Well, who's gonna get it in the end? Memento is down. They do manage to get the Baron though. Disaster averted on the side of Giants, but EUCS is going in for more. EUCS is trying to break the base, but the fight starts. Cly is taken down. Flaxish is running in, but he's already been knocked out. Raw is kiting for his life, dishing out tons of damage. EQ, can he afford to move forward? It's Amazing who's going to grab a kill. EUCS is grabbing an inhibitor, and Amazing says, hey, I'm not going to give you a chance to back. EUCS can keep this ball rolling. I'll keep this fight going. He sees Knight is He knows Hustlin has no damage, and this is an opportunity. Kicks forward, looks to take down Hustlin. Baron empowered recall. Amazing can't stop that one, but can Knight even afford to fight EUCS under this tower? For now, it looks like the answer is yes.
Giants, you get yourself the Baron. The play itself seems promising, but there's nothing you can do about EUCS. You lose your bottom inhibitor. You're gonna lose a tier 2 in the mid lane, and you have lost so many lives that Knight is the only one left, even to walk away with that Baron buff. But if you Giants, you're forced into desperation. You know EUCS is just gonna continue scaling. You're forced into a corner that you have to make. This is your only best decision.
Amazing running for his life. Memento comes over the wall onto the control ward, trying to find advantage. Ghost comes out. Amazing just looking for the fancy footwork, the escape. Ooh, does get connected though by that volley. But it's just the consolation prize. You get one, Giants. But just disaster, Vedius.
But it's great for Fnatic, right? The fact that they got this early lead.
Yes, it is great. Fnatic are destroying this series, Vedius. Every time I feel like Giants have a shot, every time it looks like Fnatic or Giants are winning somewhere on the map, it's Fnatic who are either winning somewhere else or who managed to turn it around. But for the next few minutes, they have a Baron buff. They can't empower these creeps, and we'll see what they can do with it.
Well, Giants actually should be able to get themselves a tier 2 in the mid lane. So at the very least, they're getting a bit of control back. But we still have to look at what else they can do to be able to get back in the game, right? Remember that the whole composition is about kiting, playing it slow, not going for those full-on 5v5 fights in a Baron pit like that. And while that wasn't the ideal situation, if Fnatic want to continue or to win the game, they need to still siege onto these towers, right? And that's actually where Giants can throw out a lot of poke. And what you'll see here is when they are forced into this choke point, it becomes very difficult because Rales and Niski can so easily get in range of the carries. Knight, he's not freely able to kite all this damage back. EQ is cut off on the side, so he can't really get a lot of his poke out. He even has to flash into the pit just to get involved once again in the fray. A really good kick from Amazing is really what turns the fight in their favor. But the fact that Giants lost 5 of their members and they're about to lose another.
Memento, he gets taken down as well. And Fnatic, honestly, in this series, Fnatic Academy, they've been playing so well. EUCS has been a consistent contender, dishing out damage all across the board. Niski in the mid lane, this isn't his best game, but last game he was crushing it. And Rawlez, I thought, hey, maybe it's only going to be the Ezreal, but the Ashe too is dishing out the damage. Weaver's Wall goes in, it splits up the team for a brief moment, but Flaxish is on the side. The tower is in the sights of Fnatic Academy, however, but they may just lose the fight in exchange. Flaxish waiting, baiting, maybe looking for a chance to run forward, but has to back up. Fnatic Academy, they don't even care. They're not worried about the members. They've got their eyes set on that inhibitor. But for now, the fight stalls out. For now, both sides are going to back off, and Flaxish is forced down to the bottom side.
Well, Fnatic, they realize that they still have their carries up. They know they can win these duels, and with the bottom lane pressure exerting very heavily onto the Nexus towers, Fnatic, they want to continue.
Looking for a little more. Oof. And for Giants, like, I get excited every time I see them going for the fights. Maybe this is the fight where they turn around, but even if they get a kill, Vedius, it doesn't mean anything for them right now. They need more than that. They need 3 or 4 back-to-back team fights before they can come back in this game, because with so much open and available, it feels nigh impossible.
You know things are looking rough when you can freely just throw out the arrow into anyone you want, kill them so fast that the enemy team can't even properly respond. And while, yes, Fnatic Academy did lose 2 members, perhaps being a little bit overzealous, the reality is that there's now one exposed inhibitor, one inhibitor already down, and Fnatic Academy, they're very likely going to move towards that Matt and Drake. And with that, sieging onto these towers becomes all the more easier for Fnatic Academy.
And there's the Bloodthirster too. So there's no hope of contesting Kikis in that side lane.
Yeah, pretty much outscaled confirmed. Level 16 as well for Kikis. The answers for Giants are slim to none. The best you can hope for is forcing Kikis into a fight rather than allowing him to be in a 1v1. But with no exhaust on the side of Giants, this is something we didn't talk about at all. It's something that perhaps Giants should have considered. But regardless, the reality is right now, Kikis is so strong that all Fnatic have to do is play the 1-3-1. They have the bottom lane pushing in their favor, leave Kikis up top to eventually take that inhibitor, and it just becomes a slow grind, rotate between all these 3 different lanes, and slowly take the remaining inhibitors of Giants' base.
But still only a 4K gold difference. The inhibitor, the massive factor, the open inhibitor in the top lane is huge as well, but it's not 2 inhibitors open. It's not that simple point where you just take down the last one and close a game. There is still a little bit of work to be done on the side of Fnatic Academy.
Yeah, but when that 4K gold difference is pretty much sitting on top of a Fiora, then things certainly become much harder for you than you would like.
Let's take a chance to look at that. Oh, Vedius, look at that. 3,000 gold of that 4,000 gold advantage is in the hands of Kikis. Yeah, you can see that now. That's 3.5 thousand. Thank you, observers, for proving me wrong there. It's even bigger than I thought, and that is...
That's a Bloodthirster. That's literally the price of a Bloodthirster.
If Giants get a pick on Fnatic, they then can fight an even team fight.
Well,
here
we go.
Well, they're going to find a pick on Amazing, potentially, but it's Hustling who's isolated on the side. He will go down as Kikis grabs one for himself. Challenge issued and answered. Rawlez drops as well, though Knight is the one who's going in. Suddenly it's Flaxish. Niski can't even find the duel because Memento comes in. They chain the CC. They chain the damage as well. EQ over the wall. Suddenly Fnatic is falling apart. Kikis now running for his life, but still a threat to be reckoned with. Giants find a brief fight in their favor, but they want to challenge the beast. EQ says, let's go, Kikis. Maybe looking for a bit more. Kikis now running for his life. EQ has to respect it, though. Now suddenly backing off.
But a still 2-for-2 fight is absolutely fine for Giants. The fact that they've been at such a huge deficit, the fact that Fnatic Academy have been controlling so much of the game, they find a fight that goes in their favor, and this is because Giants finally play their composition in the way that they want to. Notice that Knight was always kiting back. Kikis found it impossible to get on top of him because of how elegantly he was just dancing around his opponent. Now they've got themselves a Drake, and Amazing could be caught out.
Leaps forward, tack sweep not going to connect, but it's Kikis behind them. There he is, the man with all the gold, takes him down, finds one for himself. Kikis leaps forward, Flaxus, hook shot, wall dive, not enough. Kikis says, have a flash. I'll take that one too. Double kill drops. Easy pickings on the side of Fnatic, and this may just be the final nail in the coffin, Vedius.
2 members are dead. Those are long death timers, and Kikis with the teleport flank punishes Giants for going for that Baron. Once again, they have the numbers at hand. They catch Knight.
Not even the Baron, just the Dragon, Vedius. Not even anything crazy aggressive, just a simple Dragon turned against them. Now Kikis breaks an inhibitor by himself. Ping's coming out on the top lane inhibitor. Giants know that they need to hold on. 10 seconds left on EQ. 20 seconds on Flaxish. Inhibitor about to break. It looks like it will be 3 inhibitors. Knight walls off Cly. He's all alone, but only for a few more seconds. This is it. The final fight. Giants look to go in. Kikis does get stunned up. No, hustling rather, but now they move for more. Niski's locked up, but there's no follow-up. Just a member taken out. Now it's Fnatic with a man advantage. Kikis, yeah, with the blinking health bar, but 2 inhibitors already down. I mean, Fnatic are in the driver's seat.
Fnatic, they're just going to grab the wave. They're going to continue their push. Kikis, he has plenty of lifesteal available to him. And with Hustling dead, Fnatic Academy, they're looking for that final inhib.
Is this it? Is this the moment that Fnatic win? Is this the moment that Fnatic make it to the LCS? Now Giants clearing out the wave. Fnatic remembering the words of their coach, not taking a risk here. Instead, just looking for the simple, the clean, close out in this what could be this final game.
Giants, if they can get a steal, it's definitely a stretch, but it's their best option right now. You can see Fnatic.
Leaps up, leaps onto Amazing, is kicked back. Baron drops for Fnatic.
And that's the utmost respect being demonstrated by Fnatic there. They don't even allow Memento to get anywhere near the Baron. They could just 5-man rush it down, but they don't. And you can see this is where Giants this is where they actually get a good fight going in their favor. The fact that they get themselves, they try to get a pick, force Amazing out of the fight. Just watch Knight off on the sideline, beautifully kiting around, just keeping his opponents at a distance at all times to freely get all this damage off. And then when the flash eventually comes out from Kikis is when he's able to shut him down, but it's too late by then. Fnatic Academy have already lost 2 members, and then Giants riding off the high feel, let's try and get ourselves a dragon. And then this is where the TP comes in from Kikis. He's ready to cut off the escape route of Giants.
And you forget, I feel like, as Giants, you forget about the monster because it was only Knight who was fighting him in the last play.
Yeah.
But that was just an insane amount of damage.
Level 17, so much to contend with, and now he's got the GA. Now, Fnatic Academy, 9,000 gold, the Baron buff.
Weaver's Wall, though. Maybe looking to get something on their terms. Hustler moving forward. Multiple members hit up, but Miasma going to stop any advance. Arrow goes in onto Hustle, and they may look for the turn. Flax just leaps forward. He's kicked right back out. Rawls is kiting. Rawls is fighting back, but Giants, they're looking for something. Hextech ultimatum. Rawls, will he drop? No. Amazing. Leaps forward, leaps back to save him. Rawls is still alive, but EQ is on the side. EQ's dishing out the damage. He leaves forward. He wants to take out Rawls. Doesn't have enough, but Knight, he's holding on. He's looking for more, but his kick is in the base. You forget all about the Fiora. You wonder why you're winning the fight. Kikis leaps in. He looks for the style points, and ladies and gentlemen, it is on the corpse of Giants that Fnatic ascend to the LCS. And after, at the end of the day, Vedius, they earned it. 3-0, coming in confident. I feel like every game it got just a little bit cleaner. Yeah, there were some fights in the mid game, but Fnatic always found a way to get a greater advantage, to win out in the end. And they made it work.
Well deserved from Fnatic Academy. They definitely demonstrated their dominance over Giants, consistently performing throughout this series and very enjoyable to watch. We wondered whether or not Giants would be able to refresh, come back. It's been a week since they last fought, but Fnatic, they just came back stronger. They were hungry. That will be both Academy teams knocking out our 2 former LCS squads.
Origin eliminated, Giants eliminated, down to the Challenger Series. 2 new lineups, 2 new organizations set to come in, as we will see who wants to pick up these Academy squads, but they have earned the spots. They have looked good so far. You can see the team huddling. Well-deserved moment of happiness for these guys.
And they should be happy. They worked hard during the regular season of Challenger. Again, like both Misfits Academy and Fnatic, they did not look like favorites. There was a lot of hype towards PSG and Schalke, but both these teams showed up. Both of these teams grew so much, and they were able to make their way, to make their way here and finally secure themselves back for some of these players into the LCS.
It was a good look for them overall, but it's time to wrap things up here at the EULCS Summer Promotion Tournament. So let's load into the post-game lobby and have Shox and the crew take it away.